Arya is a fashion-forward woman who provides private lessons to youngsters on any subject of their choice, including life lessons, sometimes without their parents' knowledge. It's a fair day at World University, and lots of students are milling about from different clubs and stands to the other. Hannah is alone in her book stand. She stares longingly at her crush Otto, who is surrounded by lots of girls. He appears to be a star student as many girls request for pictures with him. Hannah discovers two girls making fun of her looks in her literary club stand. She is furious when both the girls and the people around do not seem fond of literature. They look at her weirdly and call her a lunatic, including Otto. She storms off with her books in annoyance, pushing past people without a second glance. She runs into her auntie, who is the chancellor, but does not wait to talk to her. She locks herself in the restroom, sobbing while she cleans off her makeup. Arya and some girls enter the restroom to fix their makeup. Hannah pays attention as one of them gushes over Arya for helping her with some lessons to score her boyfriend. Arya shushes her up so people don't eavesdrop on their conversation. Hannah keeps quiet and hides so they do not discover that she overheard their discussion. She is impressed with Arya's skills. She sneaks a glance at her through the cubicle to catch a glimpse of Arya before they leave the restroom. Hannah runs out of the restroom with makeup streaks on her face. She is oblivious to the stares she gets from other girls as she follows Arya outside. She sneaks up on her beside her parked car, scaring Arya. She begs Arya to give her private lessons so she can be noticed by Otto. Arya is surprised and feigns ignorance of what she is talking about. Hannah maintains that she overheard them in the restroom. Arya scoffs at her in her request. She walks off to her car, leaving Hannah helpless. Arya cruises in her car. She sings at the top of her voice and is astonished to find Hannah in the car with her. Her car swerves, but she gets control of it and stops it to throw Hannah out. But Hannah is smart. She locks the car door and seizes her phone. She is happy to have the upper hand as she continues her request to Arya, who is already sick of her. Arya reluctantly agrees to help her out, but changes her mind when Hannah threatens to report her to her aunt. She is unaware that her aunt is the chancellor of their university, and she dares her to tell her auntie like the child that she is. Hannah is angry and puts through a call to her aunt. Arya struggles to snatch the phone from her when she notices her mistake and how much trouble she could get into if word gets to the school. They reach a truce and continue with their trip. The entry is blocked by a delivery truck in front of Arya's house. She confronts them, and her new neighbor Ben quips at her to have some patience as they unload furniture. She is annoyed at the inconvenience as she is forced to walk the remaining distance to her apartment. She accuses Hannah of trying to sneak into her house. She issues her a stern warning not to out her to her aunt, after which they part ways. She climbs the stairs and finds a huge cupboard dumped at her door. In a huff, she walks to her new neighbor's apartment to give him a piece of her mind. She stumbles on her hot semi-naked neighbor, Ben, from downstairs. He is a photographer and has the looks to keep the girls coming. He is cocky and is not intimidated by her. He refuses to move the cupboard from her doorstep. Arya is dumbstruck and she leaves his apartment quietly. He follows her out and they stare at each other as she squeezes herself through a little space into her apartment. The next morning, Ben has an exciting photography session with a model in his apartment. The noise rouses an annoyed Arya from sleep. She finds bubbly Hannah at her door, who's eager to start her private lessons. Hannah has with her some inspirational books she feels will come in handy during the lessons. She talks a mile a minute, and Arya finds it difficult to keep up with her thought process. She offers to serve her some tea to calm her down. The noise from Ben's apartment becomes unbearable for Arya. She uses a stick to hit on the ceiling as a sort of warning to Ben. Hannah finds her antics funny. She teases her that she looks like an old hack. Hannah is disturbed. She asks Arya if she feels that she is old and able to attract Otto. Arya lectures her on her choice of outfits, which consist of a dull-looking vest over a big shirt and ratty hair. Hannah insists that she dresses for comfort, but Arya advises her to dress stylishly now and leave comfort for when she gets old. Hannah notices that Arya is worked up due to her brash behavior, so she confronts her on this. Arya is mad at her. She threatens not to teach her again since she is smart. Hannah apologizes to her. She is desperate and does not want to miss the opportunity to become friends with Otto. She snoops through Arya's work papers on her table. She is surprised to see that she has a work plan. She tries to find out if her type of work has a name, but Arya shoos her away and warns her not to touch her things. She does not listen as she browses through Arya's laptop. She is impressed with her website and wonders if Arya is healing from trauma. The laptop beeps with a message from Arya's clients. Arya snatches the laptop from Hannah, who wished she knew about the website so she would have sent in a message already. Arya clears it up that she needs a recommendation before an appointment is made. Arya stops in her step when Hannah reminds her of her aunt. She calms down when she remembers that Hannah has one up on her. Lessons begin with Arya inviting Hannah to Otto's party later on for some hands-on experience. She reminds her to always follow her rules and not the books she brought along. Hannah is ecstatic to start the lessons and be on her way to becoming Otto's girlfriend. They decide to go to Hannah's house, which she shares with her aunt. At Arya's door, they overhear the model from Ben's apartment thanking him for the wonderful time while they plan for another time. Arya does not find it funny. She reminds Ben of the cupboard in front of her door. They stare at the model as she passes. Ben comes out and haughtily assures her that the cupboard will be moved when he is less busy. She is shocked when another willowy model walks past them to Ben's apartment. Hannah is stunned at the woman's beauty, but she keeps quiet when Arya gives her a look. Hannah is crestfallen, and she is not sure she can succeed in her plan, as she does not consider herself to be as beautiful as other women, like the models they saw. Arya tries to console her. She reassures her that the girls probably have implants and no sense of style. Hannah is happy, and they finally leave the apartment. Hannah welcomes her to her auntie's home. Arya is curious to know more about her and her auntie as she goes through the pictures in the living room. Hannah invites her to her room to see some of her acclaimed great stuff, but Arya is not impressed with her wardrobe, which consists mainly of suede jackets. She advises Hannah on the need to change her wardrobe if she insists on attracting Otto. Arya insists they visit her auntie for her permission to tutor Hannah. The visit is a success as Arya is able to convince her. They go shopping, and their first stop is a lingerie store. Hannah is thrilled at the prospect of finally discovering she has breasts. They also go makeup shopping. They leave with an armful of new products. Hannah has so much fun trying on dresses. As they enter the party, Hannah looks stunning in a cute crop top, blazer, and high-waisted pants. When she notices Otto staring at her, she is embarrassed and attempts to leave, but Arya prevents her from acting foolishly. Arya introduces her to her friends from the restroom. They take some shots which burn Hannah's throat as she coughs out her drink. They all smile at her and continue dancing. Hannah decides to impress Otto by winning his dare of taking the most shots. Arya tries to advise her to slow down, but she is too drunk. Arya leaves her for a minute to settle an issue with one of her students. She returns to find Hannah dancing on the table and making a spectacle of herself. She passes out and Arya is stuck with caring for her. At her apartment, Ben helps her carry Hannah upstairs to her room. Arya is surprised to find out that Ben has not removed the cupboard from her door. Ben invites them over to his place as they are unable to fit into her door with the tipsy Hannah. He serves them coffee, and Arya wonders about his space, trying to find evidence of his debauchery with the women who flock his place. Arya struggles to shush Hannah as she reveals her plan of winning Otto with Arya's help. Ben watches affectionately as Arya helps her to the window for some air. Arya is embarrassed when an emotional Hannah thanks her for helping her fulfill her dream of dancing and having a boyfriend. Hannah recognizes her aunt's car from the window. She confesses that she shared her location with her auntie so she can relieve Arya of the stress of taking care of her. Arya is flustered and does not know how to stop Hannah's auntie from seeing her drunk. Ben helps her out. He instructs Hannah to be quiet as he hides her in the wardrobe, while he pretends to be Hannah sleeping on the couch. Hannah's auntie decides to allow Hannah spend the night. She leaves an instruction for Hannah to call her in the morning. Arya is grateful to Ben for his help. She helps Hannah to bed, and she teases her about Ben. She goes to get their things from Ben's place. He tries to spend more time with her, but she refuses his request to finish her coffee with him. She leaves, and he stares longingly at her with a wide smile on his face. They continue with their lessons the next morning. Arya helps Hannah work on her style and improve on her confidence. She gives her lessons on how to attract men without being too forward. Hannah is giddy with joy when she succeeds at attracting a boy at a football game they attend. She goes out with him and tries to remember Arya's instruction not to laugh too much at his jokes. Arya is surprised when she gets home and does not find Ben's cupboard at her door again. She pretends to have just arrived as she fumbles with her key while she waits for Ben to climb the stairs. They share a laugh when he asks after Hannah, the drunk queen, and she contains her laughter when she remembers her advice to Hannah. She behaves like a schoolgirl that has a crush in front of Ben. He enjoys her company and invites her over to his place for some coffee. She accepts promptly, but on a second thought, asks for a rain check. It gets awkward between them. Arya finds it difficult to act naturally as she tries to remember her dating rules when dealing with Ben. She escapes to her place and leaves Ben standing. She lets her hair down and decides to have fun, dancing around her apartment to loud music. Ben is distracted when he overhears the loud noise from her place. He joins in the fun and thumps on the floor with his umbrella, in tune with the beat of the song playing. Arya is embarrassed that she has been caught. She turns off the music and sits down on the floor. Ben continues the fun. He plays the same song on his phone. Arya smiles at this. Ben brings up his offer for coffee, and Arya is unable to hide her feelings. She agrees to his offer, and he arrives at her door, bearing 2 cups of coffee. She meets him at her door, and they entertain their nosy neighbor from downstairs, Mary. At the bang of her door, they double in laughter as Arya invites him into her apartment. Ben coughs when she tells him that their neighbors are nosy because they think they are having an affair. It becomes uncomfortable between them as they agree to remain just friends. Arya is heartbroken at the turn of events, and it is evident on her face. Arya brings up the issue of the models he usually has over at his place. Ben teases her about being curious about them and the costumes strewn all over his place. She is quick to refute his claims. She is embarrassed and accuses him of having and fulfilling his fantasies with the women, using costumes and wigs. Ben finds her assumptions funny. She is surprised she has an entirely different idea of what the costumes are for. He accuses her of watching too many movies that have made her pessimistic. Several knocks sound on Arya's door. Ben concludes that their neighbor must have called the cops on them. Arya opens the door and is not surprised to find Hannah. She is in a fix as she apologizes to Arya for what she is about to say. Arya tries to calm her down to no avail. When she gets sick of Hannah's constant chattering, she pushes her out of the door and advises her to act accordingly. Ben watches them interestedly. Arya explains to him that sometimes Hannah goes into a frenzy, so she needs some time to reboot. She is proved right when Hannah knocks on the door again, but in a calm manner. Arya opens the door, and they exchange greetings like nothing happened a while ago. She explains the situation she put herself in. She informs Arya that she lied to her aunt that she is having lessons with her, so Otto would take her out on a date. She begs Arya to cover up for her if her aunt calls. Hannah is furious at her for lying without her consent. It's a shocker to Ben that she is only worried about Hannah lying without her consent, and not even that Hannah lied. She gives him a stare which shuts him up. She is worried that they might get caught by Hannah's aunt. Ben helps Hannah to beg Arya while making pity faces. Arya grudgingly accepts to help her, and Hannah is ecstatic. She kisses her on the cheek and prances out. Arya sighs when she closes the door. Ben notices that she is worked up over Hannah. He suggests that they follow her on his bike, so they can keep an eye on Hannah and ensure nothing goes wrong. She is happy with his suggestion. They approach his bike, and Ben is surprised when Arya decides to ride. It's a long journey, and they arrive at the address. Arya is furious that the party is in a school. She wants to create a scene, but Ben advises her not to do so she does not embarrass Hannah. They jump through the gate and proceed to the party. Otto and Hannah are together. Hannah admits that she has not done something crazy like this before. She quizzes him on why they are in a school this late. He advises her to watch and see what happens. She is all smiles as she basks in the euphoria of her new friendship with Otto. Arya and Ben follow them from a distance. It's a long walk to the school, which leaves Arya panting for breath. Ben decides to clear the air and tell Arya the truth concerning his profession as a photographer. They hide when they sight a security guard. He informs her that the women frequenting his place are only models, and he does not have a girlfriend. Arya is relieved at the news. They continue their race with the security guard into the school. Ben asks her if she was jealous of the other women who flocked his apartment. She feigns ignorance and claims there is nothing to be jealous about. Ben teases her that they are award-winning models, so there is nothing to be jealous about. A private moment passes between them. In a whisper, he passionately tells her that she is beautiful and that he would prefer to take pictures of her rather than the models. Arya scoffs at his admission. He stares deeply into her eyes as he whispers sweet nothings to her. Arya is pleased as she fights to keep off the smile from her face. Her phone vibrates as him and the moment is broken. They overhear two people talking about Otto being at the pool. When the coast is clear, they run towards the pool in search of Hannah. At the pool, Hannah is uncomfortable seeing girls prance around in their underwear. Otto approaches her with a sly look on his face. Arya and Ben from upstairs see them. Arya's phone rings, and it's Aunt Ulker. She lies that Hannah is in the toilet and will call her back. Otto strips off his shirt in front of Arya. She tries hard to look away. He tries to unbutton her shirt, but they are interrupted by Arya. She is furious at Hannah for not taking her calls. Otto and Arya exchange some words before he gives way. Arya tells Hannah to grab her things so they can go home. Otto looks at her in disbelief. Hannah picks her things and follows Arya out. Ben, who has been standing in silence, is stopped by Otto. He tries to cause some trouble between them, but Ben does not pay him heed. Arya helps Hannah dry off. She scolds her for coming here just because of Otto. She splashes water on her face so she can pretend to have just finished showering as she calls her aunt. Back at the pool, Otto does not relent in his fight. He fails to listen to his friends who try to stop him. He confronts Ben and asks him what he is doing at the school meant for younger people. They have a face-off, and Ben dares him to find out. He promises to do so and dismisses Ben while he continues to have fun with his friends. The next day, Arya is working on her laptop at a restaurant when she sees Ben. She invites him over for a chat, and he asks her out to dinner. Arya agrees to it and promises to get back to him. They are both smiling at each other as Ben continues on his way. Hannah finds Arya staring at the retreating Ben. She teases her for saying yes to a date right away, but Arya throws it back at her. Hannah is sorry and tries to explain to Arya that sneaking into the school was not her idea. She is oblivious of the fact that Otto is interested in her just to have intimate relations with her, which is not what she wants. Arya queries her judgment for hanging out with Otto's crowd, because they could have put them in trouble. Hannah is annoyed that she is the one to be blamed when there is also a guy. Arya explains to her that men and women are not equal but are both trying to find balance. Hannah is sick of all the rules guiding relationships. She prefers doing things her own way rather than following a set of rules. Arya assures her that she will be allowed to do as she wants when she finds her balance with Otto, even though she doesn't trust him for trying to undress her at the pool. Hannah believes he only did that to help her blend in with the crowd and have fun. Arya advises her to learn to say no to people. With a mischievous smile, Hannah retorts that Arya should also take the advice. She gets a message from Otto inviting her out, but hides it from Arya. She lies to Arya that she is going out to buy a book that is on discount. She kisses her on the cheek and leaves. Arya follows suit as she is late for an appointment. The next scene shows Beth and her parents. She is one of Arya's supposed students and also Ben's sister. She pleads with her parents to allow her to go on a school trip, which will be monitored by her tutor, Arya, but her parents are skeptical about it. They decide to meet with Arya for dinner before they make a decision. Ben encourages their parents to allow his sister to travel. He goes to help out his mom in the kitchen when Arya rings the doorbell, and he misses her. Arya is introduced to Beth's parents. They insist that she has dinner with them. She excuses herself to use the restroom, and Ben steps out of the kitchen with food. He maintains that his parents should allow Beth to go on the trip. He goes to turn off the oven when Arya returns to the dining table. She assures the parents that she will always be with the kids on the trip. Ben steps out of the kitchen holding a pan with a smile on his face, ready to get introduced to the tutor. Their faces meet and they are surprised to see themselves. He believes the worst of Arya and quizzes her on what the trip is about with a threatening stare. Arya knows she has been caught. She excuses herself from the table and leaves the house. Beth and their parents question his behavior, but he maintains that he is being a good brother. He goes after Arya outside and demands an explanation from her, as thunder strikes and the weather changes. He accuses her of changing names and deceiving her client's parents, but she maintains that she only helps young people. Ben attempts a sardonic smile. He accuses her of changing her appearance and making money off young people. Arya is emotional. She turns to leave, but he stops her. She informs him that her students need her because she understands and listens to them, unlike people like him. Beth comes out and asks him why he won't allow her go on the trip, and he is furious at her for still lying to him. Arya wishes he would listen to her. She walks to her car and drives off. Ben continues to yell, accusing her of lying to him under the heavy downpour. Arya is in tears as she drives home and relives the hurtful words Ben threw at her. His comments about her disguised looks hurt her so much that she removes her blonde wig. She arrives home. At the stairs, Ben, who followed her, keeps calling her name. She is annoyed at his arrogance and yells at him. They are interrupted by their nosy neighbor, Mary, who opens her door to see what the noise is all about. Arya saves Mary the stress of eavesdropping on their conversation by explaining things to her directly. She cries out that Ben wouldn't hear her out. Ben is quick to retort that she extorts money from people, including his sister who lied because of her. Arya is incensed and warns him not to mention Beth since he wouldn't listen to her. They are so focused on their fight that they do not notice Mary go inside until her door slams. Arya huffs off to her apartment. Ben watches her before going to his place. They are both in their respective apartments, restless and thinking about the events of the day. A knock sounds at Ben's door. He thinks it is Arya and scrambles to go give her a piece of his mind. He is surprised to see that it is Mary. She shoos him away and takes a seat in his living room. Arya gets a call from her student Diana, but she is not in the mood to give any advice. When she finds out that it's an emergency, she promises Diana to come right away. In Ben's apartment, Mary gives Ben an earful for making Arya sad. She informs him that he has no idea who Arya is. Ben doesn't believe her. Mary concludes that Arya is right after all. She explains to him that Arya helped his sister take dance classes with the money his parents paid her. Ben is surprised at this new information. She tells him that the walls in the building are thin, so she always listens into Arya's conversations with her students. Ben is gobsmacked to find out that his sister is already a dancer, and that he has ruined her chances of attending a dance contest that weekend. He leaves Mary and storms out with his phone. Arya meets her distressed student Diana at a coffee shop. She is deep in her thoughts as she tries to help her out of a sticky situation, with a guy blackmailing her with her nude photos. Ben is outside his door. He is on a video call with his sister. He is hurt that she did not come to him when she needed help. Beth tells him she was alone, and she had to do something. She sings Arya's praises, that she has been like a big sister to her. She urges him to realize that Arya means well for everyone. Ben goes to Arya's apartment to apologize to her. He knocks at her door but does not get any response. Back at the coffee shop, Arya is still going through options on how to help Diana out of the mess. She suggests she informs her parents, but Diana maintains that it is a bad idea. The girl is traumatized at the thought of her naked pictures surfacing online. She contemplates suicide and becomes so hysterical that people start watching them. Arya calms her down. She promises to help her find a solution. Arya makes a call to Camille, who is a techie, to come to her place with her hacking gear. In her house, Arya and Diana watch Camille as she tries to hack into the guy's computer to delete the pictures. When she hacks into his security camera, Arya and Camille are astonished when they find out that the house belongs to Otto, Hannah's crush. Arya is sorry for Hannah. She doesn't know how to break the news to her. The lights go out in Arya's apartment. Even though others have light, she steps out to fix it. At her door, she finds a note. She follows the lighted candles on the stairs to the rooftop of their building. It is littered with candles, and a table is set for dinner for two. A note asks her to press a button. She does, and a video of her picture starts playing, with a background song and piano sound by Ben. He tries to apologize to her through the video, which makes Arya feel mushy. Ben appears, wearing a mask. He is sorry for not listening to her. Arya receives a call from Camille, which reminds her of the task at hand. She informs her that Hannah is with Otto at his place. She apologizes to Ben and returns to her place. She is hysterical and tries calling Hannah, but she does not pick her call. Camille points out that their problem would be solved if Hannah steals the hard drive, but Arya is genuinely concerned about Hannah's safety. Back at Otto's place, he offers Hannah some juice. Arya and the girls are surprised when they find out that he has lots of cameras in his house. He tries to initiate a private moment with Hannah. Arya and the girls do not feel good about this, so she decides to make a trip to Otto's house with his address from Diana. Hannah noticed something strange on the table. She distracts Otto and checks it out. She is scared when she finds a camera. She tries to sneak out but is stopped by Otto. She calls Arya in a panic while she pretends to use the bathroom upstairs. She is afraid for her life when she discovers another camera hidden by Otto. She destroys it and begs Arya to rescue her. Arya reassures her and advises her to stay in the bathroom. Arya tells the girls to watch Hannah while she steps out. She meets Ben at the door but does not tell him where she is going. Ben meets Camille and Diana, who tell him what happened, and he follows after Arya to Otto's place. Things turn for the worse for Arya when she is met by traffic on the way. Hannah informs her that her phone is going off. Otto gets tired of waiting for Hannah. He pulls up his phone to watch her on the camera feed, but finds it blank. He queries Hannah on what she is doing in the restroom, but she is angry at him for deceiving her. He is in a fit. He yells at her to open the door, while accusing her of practically asking for whatever treatment he is giving her. Hannah threatens him, but he gets angrier. They are interrupted by his doorbell. He locks the bathroom door from outside and goes to check the door. Hannah tries to open the door, but it does not budge. She screams out for Arya to help her out. Otto opens the door to a slap from Arya. He tries to retaliate but is stopped by a shove from Ben. Arya is surprised to see him. She forgives him of all his wrongdoings and goes to rescue Hannah. They hug and proceed to find the hard drive. Arya deletes all Diana's pictures, and they call the police on Otto. Arya is pleased at Ben for introducing them to the police as Hannah's teachers, so they can follow her to the police station to give her statement. They arrive at Arya's place late at night. Ben asks for a coffee date just like the first time in his apartment. They share a private moment, and nosy Mary comes out to check up on them. They smile at her antics and race off to a more private place, where they share a private moment together. Arya ends up in Ben's arms. The movie ends with Hannah staying true to herself, and becoming popular in school through her exhibition. Her aunt is also proud of her. She is grateful to Arya for all the help she gave her.